I want to start off by just asking you all, we just watched the finale of season 6. What was your favorite scene to shoot of the whole of season 6? Let's go along the line and ask everyone.
I liked the unusual suspect scene at the end. It was really fun to get to work with this guy here. His name is Mark.
Thank you. God, thank you. I guess for all of season 6, it would be the dinner party, because I rarely got to film with Tosh. And we had a lot of fun with that. If I were to pick, I mean, it's.
They're asking about the finale, their favorite scene in the finale.
I didn't have one.
Yeah, mine was the stuff we did in your room, Goodbye, because it was like everything coming together at the end was really sad, and I was like, and when Matt sings at the piano and everyone sings and you're like hyperventilating, like it was the last day of shooting, so it was actually the last scene, the last day, so that was kind of it was sad but beautiful at the same time, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd say singing around the piano and pretending that I knew the words to the song. That I then had to redo an ADR about 3 months later, relive the whole traumatic experience of saying goodbye to these beautiful people.
I would have said that, but I was heavily pregnant and I genuinely thought I was giving birth during that scene. So it was not... I was quite distracted. I'd say probably doing the Rosemary's Baby stuff. I don't know if they would have shown that, but that was incredible because they brought back like Sean and Charmaine and so many people that had been in the show. They like found ways of having them there, and they built the set from Rosemary's Baby. And I got to hold 2 really like mutant babies, and I was heavily pregnant, and it was really surreal and amazing. Which is like so much of Shadows, where you're like, this will never happen again, ever. This selection of characters and things and aesthetics will never... Yeah, so that, probably.
Likewise, really, the Rosemary's Baby and the playing the piano, that last scene. I turned 50 that day. So it was the weirdest birthday I've ever had.
So we feel like we've been on a huge journey with you over these 6 seasons. And so before we move forward, I want to just take it back a little bit to how you all first got involved, because you all came to this differently. So again, if you could each just share your experience of getting involved at the beginning.
Down the line?
Yeah.
Jump in?
Well, should we start with Matt this time? Because I know you had done...
Sure. I was under a table shooting a scene with Jermaine and Aubrey Plaza, and Jermaine said, I'm going to be doing a TV version of the vampire film that I made. Do you want to be in it? And I said, are you going to be in it? And he says, yes. I said, well, yeah, of course. Where will it film? Probably Los Angeles. It filmed in Toronto, and he wasn't in it. But I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
I first heard about it because my brother does acting, and he was like, have you heard they're making a TV version of what we do in the Shadows? And I was like, of course, you're going to get seen for it. Amazing. I'll never get seen. And then, I got a call saying that I just got an audition. Sorry, really boring. Got an audition. And did the audition. And I remember I was like, I'm going to really try. I'm going to put some red lipstick on, wear a black dress, and this will be in the bag. And then I got there, and there was like a room full of the most incredibly dressed vampire women I've ever seen in like full things. But I did that audition, and then I got a call back, and we had to improvise a lot. And I channeled my Greek Cypriot grandmother, and I got the part.
Thank God.
Yeah. Oh.
I got an email from my manager, and he hadn't got me a job in about 7 years, so I was about to leave that motherfucker. But lucky for him, I got the email, but the email was like, you can either audition for Nandor we can audition for Laszlo. I was reading it going, okay, yes. So then I started reading it and I thought, what accent? And I do like a Polish accent. So then they were like, you can wear fangs to the audition. So I was like, okay, I went and got some fangs and I stuck them in my teeth. Did my hair all big and poofy and went in. It's poofy, not puffy. And as we're in America, so I forgot. And I did the audition, and then I didn't hear anything for ages, and I'm definitely leaving that motherfucker now. And then they were like, "Oh, you got the part." Or they said you got a test, and they were like, "You don't have to test, you got the part." So.
Are you still with him?
I am.
Is he still a motherfucker, or?
No comment.
I think the test was going to be with me. I was the last person to be cast because they had already cast this amazing cast already. And I kind of went into it from a wine and cheese night. I went to wine and cheese night. I met this girl there. And the next day she texted me from her number. It was unknown. And she was like, hey, I met you last night at Mimi's Wine and Cheese. And I think you're really fucking funny. And I was like, okay, who is this? And she's like, I want you to be in my fiance's new project. And I was like, I don't do those kind of films anymore. And so like, no, it's a TV show called What We Do in the Shadows. I'm like, that's a movie, nice try. And then it's like, no, we have to move fast because they've already cast everyone. This was like the first week of the new year, and they've already cast, and they were starting like filming soon. And so I was like, oh my gosh, it's the casting director that I've never gone in for. So I got the audition, and I was the only one they saw that day because they were in London auditioning for Guillermo's, the rest of the cast. And I got a call that they voted to test me with Kayvan, and I was like waiting for the call. It never came. It didn't come at all until like Sunday before they started production on Tuesday, and it was Tyke and Jermaine, and they're like, hey, is this Harvey? And I was like, yeah. It's like, hey, you got the part. And I was like, I think I'm testing. Like, no, you're not testing. And I was like, and then Monday was Martin Luther King Day. Tuesday, we had a fitting, and Wednesday we were on set.
Mine is so unapplause-worthy. It's so boring. It's fitting, being a boring character, that I have a boring... I auditioned for the wonderful Allison Jones. She would call me in for stuff, and I never got anything. It was... I didn't audition for The Office. It was always Tony Hale would get it. Tony Hale got it. Tony Hale got it. And so I went in, auditioned, and then, gosh, I completely forgot about it, as I always do with auditions. I'm like, well, let's move on. And like, gosh, I want to say like 4 months later, they called and they were like, hey, you got the part. And it's always the thing where like the agents are so excited and you're just like, oh shit, what does this mean now for me? Like, it's going to be in Toronto, so I have to do that. And, I always say you're always putting the cork back in the champagne in this town. It's always like, oh shit, that's exciting, but you have to lose 40 pounds. Oh, well, that's not going to happen. So, yeah. Anyway. Thank you. Thank you.
I think you're giving me so much false hope that 4 months can go by from that audition that I did and disappeared. I happened to be shooting My Spy in Toronto the same time as they were filming season 1, and I was hanging out with Jermaine because I'd known him from Flight of the Conchords, and yeah, and he wrote one part and asked me to do it, and I couldn't. And then he wrote another part and asked me to do it, and I could. The end. And the part that I could do didn't have a name.
So is it safe to say that you had all seen the film, and was that a challenge to try and do something different?
I got to see the first cut of. I was visiting New Zealand, and Jermaine and Taika brought me in to see the rough cut of it, and I said, "You need more women." But it was very funny.
I hadn't seen movie until after I got the audition, and I made a point to not see it because it would probably freak me out to want to live up to the movie.
I saw the film and I was like, God, because at the time there was so much vampire stuff, and I was like, oh, I was like doing live comedy at the time, and I was like, that is such a genius idea, and I was deeply jealous of them. And so it was. I thought, I was like, this is never going to be as good as the film, but I hope it was as good.
I was a big fan of the movie, and it doesn't help when you're a big fan of a movie and then you get a part in the TV version, and then you're sat in a coffin with a lid like this, and you know that the two guys that made the movie about the vampires are about to watch you pop out of the coffin like they did in the movie, and they better like it, otherwise you're getting fired. So yeah, it was a moment. I didn't.
I had seen it. I can't remember. Probably because when I was watching it, it wasn't crossing my mind that I'd have anything to do with it. So yeah, I did watch it, but I can't remember anything about it. It was quite a long time ago, though, and I'm quite old. So
it's all good. I'm interested because I think it's interesting that, I think in the pilot they talk about how, it's this excruciating crush of eternal life. It's sort of that setup that things don't change, and to different extents you're hundreds of years old, which is a brilliant premise, living in the sort of new world. So as things developed, what was your relationship like, each of you, with the writers? Were you planting ideas with them? Were they tailoring scenes for you? What was that relationship? What did it look like?
No, they really kept an arm's length from us. We wouldn't know what the next script would even be until around the table read. Maybe get the script the night before. But that said, they were always Paul Sims and Jermaine, especially Jermaine, really encouraged improvisation. And so we had a lot of leeway in that regard.
Well, I mean, we were all hired, the majority of us, because we could improvise.
Ouch!
So
What comes next?
I'm joking. So, and, to also sort of bring ideas. So that was the point, which was, it's a huge gift for anyone that improvises, and no one got in the way of any idea, during that whole time, which is rare and fantastic.
I do think they observed some of our skills, some of us more skilled than others, but they observed some of our skills and tried to incorporate it, like Matt playing music, Harvey being a one-man dancing stunt machine. So they Mark being unbelievably boring.
Kayvan's impressions.
He's incredible. Don't you think? I feel like
absolutely,
they did observe that, and you'd see stuff in the episodes, like me having Greek family. Yeah, you'd be more and more being speaking Greek or whatever. Anyway,
yeah. Oh, Kristen looks like she's feeling left out. Let's write it in.
But after a while,
sorry.
you could. We're sorry.
It's the writers.
We could really see after a while when a writer was writing a specific script. I remember reading, not reading the cover and being I think this is Stephanie Robinson, or I think this is. I wouldn't want to read the cover because I want to see if I can guess the writer, and maybe 8 out of 10 times I could guess it, because after a couple of seasons you sense which writer has a specific flow for what characters. For me it was Stephanie Robinson and Paul with the ghost episode. I think that was a great episode that when you read it you're this is Paul's episode, or this is Stephanie's episode. Or Sarah Naftalis, who wrote one of my favorite episodes and several. It was always that's Sarah's, and she eventually became an executive producer for the show. Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that, Natasia, you talked about tapping into like the authenticity of your ancestors, right? And I think there's so much comedy that maybe you and Kayvan in particular mine from those accents. Can you share something about the delivery of the dialogue, like maybe what you learned as the seasons went along?
I really want to say something really profound, intelligent, but I was just winging it. I guess I grew up in a house with my dad was an immigrant from Cyprus and this is something I could say. Like, he would always try and affect the English language, even though his Greekness is like thick within him. So he'd be like, let's have 2 pieces of toast. Or like, have you seen my towel? And he'd like, so I thought that was appropriate for Nadia because she's like trying to be American sort of thing. And then as Matt was whispering in my ear, just swearing loads and talking, being as filthy as possible.
Brilliant.
I mean, my ancestry is Persian, but the accent I use for Nandor is more kind of...
Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, Kermit the Frog. Kermit the Frog. So with a bit of Fuzzy Bear thrown in, for good measure.
And Zelensky.
Yeah. So I can't say I kind of mind my ancestry to play him. Or Sesame Street.
Yeah. There was a bit of your dad in him.
Yeah.
Is there? Yeah, maybe a bit. I don't know. I don't know if he'd agree with you. Oh, yeah, with the Farsi, yeah. But I guess kind of on a day-to-day Nandor basis, it was Kermit the Frog, sorry.
And Matt, I feel like it was signature for you for us to wait for your pronunciation. I mean, it's a big joy.
Yeah, but I didn't want to do that. I was sort of convinced that he would be Eastern European. And that's what I kind of set out to do with him. And Jermaine was like, no, mate, you're not doing that. He's going to sound like you. So it's like, okay, that was it.
So much fun. I also thought it was like a meta moment for you, Mark, when Slattery gets into the car and talks all about how character is accent and then drains all of your energy. I felt like that was...
Yeah, that was a fun night. I mean, John is, when you have like guest stars come on, you never know what you're gonna get, and will they understand the tone, or will they try to be funny, which is kind of the opposite of what you're trying to do on a mockumentary. And he came on and he just played it so dry and so great. And yeah, to have him then droll on about acting, which is one of my least favorite topics, to be honest with you, was really, really smart of the writers to do.
Yeah.
And who's the worst at corpsing? All of you.
Kayvan.
Kayvan for sure.
Kayvan, actually, yeah, Kayvan.
He doesn't need anyone
Start
to say a
laughing
word.
at my own lines. Yeah. Am I really? Yeah, I guess maybe. It's so much fun though. Like, a good corpse is just good for the soul. Bad for the edit, but fuck it.
So you talked about Harvey, Natasia, his stunts and dancing. Did you do you have any favorite or least favorite stunt stories?
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite were when we go to the vampire house, the 70s house, and I jump out of the window and I flip everyone off and I go backward. Because that was the first time I did a major stunt. And then it was like a real third story window thing with a big mattress floaty thing in the bottom.
It was real glass too, right?
No, it wasn't glass. It was candy glass. It was made out of candy, but it could cut you. So you could eat it afterwards. That was my favorite stunt, and also our fight scene. Remember our fight scene in the night market episode? That scene was really intricate, and we had to. That was the first time that we had combat together, and we had to train. And yes, like for me, it's like a dance. And there was a scene where Kayvan's supposed to put the sword or Nandor through what was it? I was holding the garbage pit, lid, and it went through the lid, and that wasn't supposed to happen. We're like, and it went through, and it was a real sword. Like, we're like, keep going, and we just kept going to the scene, and it made that scene even better. So, probably my two.
I also had a stuntman in leather underpants crack my rib. during a stunt. We were doing a wrestle. We were going to have a Persian wrestle together in leather underwear, and he was supposed to body slam me. So we were like, "Should we do one?" I was like, "Okay," and he did it, and I just landed on my rib.
And then he bought him like ribs to apologize.
No, he didn't. He didn't buy me ribs.
No, that was Tyson.
Tyson bought you ribs. I couldn't believe it.
I can. My least favourite stunts involved heights, which was every fucking stunt I did. And they knew that as well. Because I made it very clear on the first season, I don't like going up in this bloody thing. Okay, great. Next week, up he goes. It looked good though, I think, yeah.
Wow, my favourite stunt was in the episode in series 2 where we were aging and we all had to go up one by one, and like with the ideas like we're trying to raise but we can't because we've aged because Colin Robinson's drained us. I'll try and make this really quick. But basically, when you're doing a stunt, has safety first, takes a really long time, quite boring, but you have to really like take your time. And so they were doing us one by one, like, is that okay? Okay, take her up 50%, 100%. And they just done Kayvan lifting from his seat, and then it was on to Matt lifting from his seat, and I was sat there, and everyone was focused. It was going to be Kayvan next. It was going to be Kayvan next. They just done Matt, so we were all focused on Kayvan. It was like, okay, we good to go, Kayvan, we good to go, and just slowly they like messed it up, and Matt just lifted, and then I just heard really quietly, "No, you've got it wrong. It's me." And he was just hanging like, because we're not the most like, I would say, athletic presenting cast. So quite often when we do stunts, it was a bit like we were big babies, just sort of like hanging. "No, you've got it wrong. It's me." And everyone was like, I fell off the sofa laughing.
She did.
So, I mean, it is so sad to see the show come to an end. And so just a little bit of reflection without getting too nostalgic. Do each of you have a favorite scene that, not necessarily your own, but somebody else's, that was your favorite to watch? Like the whole show, what cracked you up?
There's too many to pick, but right off the top of my head is the penis-sized bargaining scene with the genie. That was clever.
Anoop Desai.
Yeah, amazing.
God, there are a ton. It's hard. I always loved Tosh and Matt's stuff. Probably their filthy songs was one of my favorites. It was just so funny, and me managing them. But their songs, that I think that was really great because that highlighted, some of the best of their talents, and I just thought that was great.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite moments was like really simple that made the whole show like this is a great show that I'm lucky to be part of was Natasia and Kayvan scene where Nandor complains like, "No, you make fun of me all the time," and she goes, "No, we don't." Like the way she said it and the inflection, it just made me laugh. I don't know why it was just the delivery of that just made me feel like, yes, this is good comedy. And it was just that simple moment. It was just, "No, we don't." And I was just like, in my head, I say that it lives rent free.
I got 2, I think, and they're ones that we weren't involved in. Is that right? Well, one was the goat that didn't do what it's told. And the other was when Natasia's character killed one of the Go Fuck Yourself, whatever that show was.
The Sklar Brothers, what was it called? Go Flip Yourself.
Go Flip Yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
And he just walked in and he was killed immediately, which is always great. And I saw that, and then I saw it on the TV. It was just as good on the TV as it was on the thing. But I think he thought he was going to be in it for a lot longer than he was, which was where it was genius for me.
Casino episode for me. So many amazing performances. Natasia just being all like drunk and fucked up, and all of us kind of losing the plot. And Mark trying to explain to me the earth and all the turtles, and then and then you going off and getting all our dirt all around the world, and Matt doing a speech at the table about fucking and sucking and all that. And all that
haunts me to this day.
And then, were you in that one, Kristen? No, I didn't think so. Yeah, definitely Casino then. My favorite fucking episode of all time.
I was standing by. I was standing by.
Another one was Baby Colin Robinson, when Natasia's wearing that pink Chanel suit, and we change, like, you and Matt are dads. And then it doesn't work, so we hypnotize him again, and like within seconds, you see different storylines happening. We shot that in that fancy room, and that was Io Adebri's episode, right? She wrote that, and then she also did a wink to The Simpsons when Marge wears a pink Chanel suit that she makes. That's what Natasha's wearing. So it was like when trying to be someone that you're not, she was trying to be an aristocratic like mom, and that's what she put her in, this pink Chanel suit. So I like that one too.
I would probably say there was the episode, I can't remember what it's called, maybe it's called The Escape or something, where we're in the big box store and so much stuff was happening that you're just like, this can only be this show. Like Kayvan was like dressed up in like, what was it, like hockey gear? And like the guide was like running around with the Baron in a little in a Barbie car that with just a torso. Yeah. And it was just...
That wasn't real.
That wasn't real. There was a fake Baron and a real Baron because they had like a prosthetic. Anyway, you just watch stuff like that and you're like, God, this show is like special.
And it was 4 a.m. as well.
Oh yeah, we filmed that at 4 a.m, which was also... But watching it back, you're like, I can't believe I get to be in this show. Like, this is so mad and funny. So yeah, maybe something like that.
Awesome. We're quickly going to race through some audience questions.
Yeah.
So Scott Neubauer, apologies if I mispronounce any names. This is for Matt, did you come up with the saying bat when turning into a bat? In other words, was that your choice as an actor or was it written?
It depends. If Jermaine's in the room or not. When he isn't, yes, absolutely. When he is, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
Hilarious.
No
When you bat, why you came? I remember we were doing the pilot. We shot it in LA.
Yeah.
And they wanted you to do the move, but you were like, "Oh, I can't be arsed. It's too late." And so you just went bat.
Well, there's your answer. Well remembered. I wouldn't remember that. Yeah.
And you were like,
Yeah.
And we were on a bridge in a park, and you were like,
Sounds right. Yeah.
I have to jump. No, I'm just going to say bat.
Well remembered. Cool.
Brilliant. Okay, for the entire cast from Alex Lizzotti, what is one of your favorite moments? Maybe we've just done this. Thank you for being here. Oh, that didn't make the cut. One of your favorite moments that you filmed, but it didn't make the cut.
There were so much
many.
that didn't make the cut. I mean, the scripts would be around 38 pages, and then they had to edit it down to 21 minutes. I mean, there was just so much. It's hard to, I mean, yeah.
The finale, I think, with Kayvan, we're doing the throwback episode. We're in bed, and we're like, they were all sleeping together, and there's a little part that goes after it and turn on the light.
Why are you mentioning all my bits that got cut? Mention your own fucking bits.
It was our bit. It was our bit, and I was supposed to look over. I'm like, what do you mean we're all sleeping with each other? And I thought it was funny. And Yana Gorskai's like, we had to cut it for time, and I was like, it's like kill your darlings. Like,
There was a scene that we did with Robert De Niro that was cut that you would have loved. It was quite something.
Two-hander.
Too bad.
All right, from Todd S. The costumes are gorgeous. Is the costume department missing any items?
Yeah. For everything. No, they were so amazing and generous, and they let me take a bunch of stuff. I can't. It sounds so ridiculous, but I find it quite hard to look at some of it because it's so. It's like, oh my God. And also one of the most amazing dressmakers who made my dresses, Carla, passed away after filming. So like they're unbelievably precious to me, and I will like treasure those dresses. Yeah. Sorry, that's really
No.
But interestingly, if you want to hire any of those costumes, they are available in certain They are.
Costume shop
In
Toronto.
Toronto, yeah. So if you want to like grab hold of some of that stuff, it's up for grabs.
I
you
have
got
all
the
of
witch's
Guillermo's
hat?
sweaters.
I haven't got
so-
the witch's hat. No, I don't know who's got that.
It was so heavy, the witch's hat.
I think the head of Disney has got that.
Yeah. That works on so many. That works on so many.
You asked.
And one of your coats.
All right, last question. Then I know you have another show to go to. This is from Bay for everyone. Behind the scenes, what do you wish to be remembered for amongst your peers, co-workers, and creative colleagues?
Wow.
Generous. Considerate. A real talent.
All right, I'm just going to jump in with one last one. We're making the next movie. It's 5 years on. Where are your characters? What's happening now?
Wow.
We should make the movie.
But there already is a movie.
Movie of a movie.
Another movie.
I mean, we would still, nothing would change.
No.
Yeah, there would be an exactly the
That's
same
what the
position.
finale
Yeah.
basically showed you, is that nothing would change.
Yeah,
They'd all be in the
they don't-
fancy room.
Yeah, they don't grow, and we'd all be still going through the exact same motions.
It'd be funny if it took place in Hawaii, but and like just only at night, somewhere really gorgeous. You can see a thing.
No, I miss Toronto. We can't be sort of shitting on Toronto. It was great.
I miss Toronto too.
Yeah, I'm wearing Roots joggers now as a sign of respect for Toronto. I am.
Matt, Natasha, Kayvan, Harvey, Mark, and Kristen, thank you all so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.